Good evening and welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. It is Friday night as ever. We are live on YouTube. Please, as always, shameless plug, like, subscribe, get involved. We have a fairly packed agenda as always, but if we manage to get through everything, we will open up for questions at the end. So please do get involved in the chat. Any questions you want to get across to the team, pop them in. Myself and the guys will try and get round to it. I am Nicky Irvin. I am your host tonight, and with me I have Ali Pearson and Ryan. Ali, I'll come to you first, mate. How are you, mate? How's your week been?
It's been not bad, not too bad. I've got a wee trip through to the capital tomorrow for my birthday. Obviously, there's a lot of birthdays during the week there. Myself, Jamie today actually, and Carney. So I'm away through to Edinburgh to celebrate my birthday, my missus, on Saturday. So looking forward to it. And there's no dog as well, Ryan. So good news.
Very nice, very nice. Ryan, how are you, mate? Is this 2 weeks in the bounce? That's not like you.
Nicky, it's 3 weeks in the bounce.
Wow.
It's 3 weeks. Listen, I am struggling here, boys. That weather is brutal outside. I have no annual leave left. I am literally sitting in the corner, shaking at the moment, no knowing what to do myself. 3 points in a row, but I'm trying to focus my mind on Rangers are doing things, assigning players, Glastonbury's on, so life isn't that bad. It has been a hellish week at my work, mate. One of those weeks where you're so glad it's Friday's game, so I'm looking forward to this tonight, mate, and good to see you both and everybody in the chat.
Very good, mate. Very good. I would say I know the feeling, mate, but I've not been at work for about 12 weeks now, and I've still got another, I think, 14 or 15 weeks to go. My work obviously do a fairly healthy paternity leave programme, mate, so I'm enjoying that. Albeit, I could probably go back to work for a bit of a breather, to be honest, mate, because my house is 110 mile an hour, not even 100 mile an hour.
Aye.
110 mile an hour, lads.
I'm desperate for holidays, Nicky. Desperate for holidays, but I'll tell you, I don't think I'm ready to have another kid. My two are. I'm 2 and done. I've got my oldest is up for tonight, so he's up for a visit. So no, I'm 2 and done. If I ever get that desperate, then I'll maybe have another one. How many weeks are you getting off? You getting shared paternity there, is it?
6 months, mate. 6 months I get. Lisa obviously gets the year.
You've got to wait up.
But I get 6 months. Obviously, I get 2 weeks with my two boys a few years back. But no, they recently changed policies probably about a year, 18 months ago. So I full 6 months, which is unbelievable, by the way. Honestly, an unbelievable opportunity to get time off, not even just for the new baby, but also just to bond with the boys as well, right? I'm out and about with the boys constantly, so it's allowed me to do that, which is great as well. But anyway, we have obviously we're in summer. We kicked off the summer transfer window opening, 100 mile an hour. It's kind of quieting down as you would expect with the Euros going on, etc. But we still have a fairly packed agenda to get through. We've got lots to talk about from a Rangers perspective. There's only one place to start. That is the fixtures. Obviously, fixtures for the SPFL were announced yesterday from the very general SPFL fixture computer, the very random fixture computer. I'm going to be honest, lads. No immediate shocks for me looking at it. There wasn't a lot of immediate shocks. I think traditionally when I look at the fixture now, we tend to get a horror to begin with. That's the price you pay for not winning titles. You end up away from home normally in that first game of the season. We tend to get shipped to Rugby Park or Pittodrie. I know we had a quick chat in the WhatsApp about it. We had a few wagers on where we expected to go, but there wasn't any immediate shocks. I think, again, traditionally, you kind of look at, certainly over the last few years, I remember looking at it going, December's tough, January's tough, or maybe February's tough. We get shipped away to Celtic Park. You've normally got Easter Road, a Tynecastle, a Rugby Park thrown in there as well. But I actually think we've been fairly fortunate in terms of the fixtures. There's not a massive period that jumps out at me that goes, will really be tested there. Maybe February, March, we'll get, I think, Tynecastle, Rugby Park, and maybe Celtic Park in a 5 or 6 week window. But on the whole, I actually think it's all right. Ali, immediate thoughts on the fixtures, mate? Any ones that jump out at you beyond the obvious, which is the Celtic games? But anything jumps out at you, or any particular periods that you think might be difficult, or a bit of a test of Rangers' mettle and whether we're title challengers or not?
Well, we all kind of said last week about a joke who we thought the first game would be. I think Ryan, you said Hearts, actually. I think you said Hearts last week. I went with Hibs and Jamie says Aberdeen. We were wanting a tasty one to start it with, and I think we've got a tasty one. We ended with Hearts, obviously last season, and we're starting with Hearts this season. So I'm happy with that. And then you've got the back-to-back home games where we are playing those games we still do not know. And then we have Celtic on the 31st, which always falls. But then you always look at the December run in, Nicky, because there is a lot of fixtures within there. But there's nothing, looking at December, there's nothing really. I mean, your away games, away to Ross County, St Mirren, Motherwell, and you're at home to Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, Dundee. So that's what it is. If we want to win this league, we need to beat these teams regardless of when we're playing them. So I just look out. I'm away in holiday in September, so I was looking to see what games I potentially miss. So I'm missing 2 home games. I'm missing Hibs and I'm missing St Johnstone at home. So I've said to Tommy, could have my ticket for that. But it is what it is. And I'm just looking forward to getting it back, Nicky. But Hearts away, first game. Yes, that's a nice one to start with.
Just quickly, you mentioned September there, Ali. What's the big break? I notice we've only got 2 fixtures in September. Are we in the midst of international breaks or League Cup?
Yeah. So after the Celtic game, I'm pretty sure it's an international weekend. Right. And then I would assume, I don't know if this is correct, somebody in the chat could probably say between Dundee United and Hibs, there must be a cup game in there, you would think.
League Cup,
I think I'm pretty sure it is, aye.
And in August as well, between Motherwell and Ross County, there's a cup game in there as well. So there is one in there. So yes, I would assume that is a cup game in September.
Fair enough. Ryan, you guessed right. Tynecastle, you got your wish, mate. I actually think Tynecastle are all right. I tend to think Rangers fare relatively well in Edinburgh over the last few years. I think results have been fairly kind to us at Tynecastle. Obviously, last game of the season wasn't great, right? But traditionally or historically, Tynecastle, Easter Road, we tend to get results there, mate. But again, initial thoughts on fixtures, mate. Anything that jumps out at you in terms of fixtures or particular periods that might be tough and throughout the season?
I am pleased with it. I don't think there's a particular month where I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be a sticky one. It's all about us having a fit squad in it. Like if we look at last season and the squad we had, I think every month you'll have probably dreading just because the squad was so thin. If we can utilise our squad and 95% of our squad's fit, then you shouldn't really be looking at any of these fixtures and fearing it. The December one was a shock for me because, as you said, the past maybe as long as I can remember, December's always been a really difficult month for us on paper. Looking at it, you've probably always had Hearts away, Aberdeen away, Celtic away. It's always been like 3 really tough away fixtures. I don't see that with the December fixtures this year. Potentially, January looks a bit more difficult when you've got home to Celtic, away to Hibs, away to Dundee United, just because our record up at Tannadice hasn't been great. I know they're just newly promoted, but it seems to have been a kind of sticky wick for us. But nothing really sticks out in terms of anything to worry about, which is a good thing. And I hope the players think that as well. I hope the players don't have a fear of going to Tynecastle or Pittodrie, because that, as I said in the chat during the week, that's kind of a mentality that needs to go. It's something that's developed over the past 10 years with Rangers, and probably rightfully so. We've had a lot of bad days at these venues, but that needs to start going. That fear of going to Pittodrie or anywhere else needs to go, because these places are only difficult in our minds, but it's only difficult as we make them to be. So these players, a new set of players, I'm hoping a new mentality going into these kind of fixtures and start putting wrongs to right. But Hearts away is a tasty one. It gets you off to a flyer. Like if it was a bit slow, like maybe something like Dundee away, then it doesn't really give you the kind of, it doesn't wet the whistle really, does it? But Hearts away, the players will know within 5 minutes what playing for Rangers is all about. The new players that is, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I said in the chat and the pod last week, I'm starting to get excited about the season, which I'm very uneasy about. You know, I'm not the most positive Rangers fan, so I'm starting to get a bit positive and a bit excited about the season. And Hearts away on the 3rd of August certainly excites me, Nicky.
No, I think you're spot on, mate. I think I would agree. I think it's always good to get, particularly if you can tick them off, right? If you can get a Hearts ticked off, a Celtic Park ticked off, an Easter Road, a Tannadice as your Rugby Park, fairly early doors, and you manage to take maximum points, it puts pressure a wee bit on the other side, right? Because when we're looking ahead, you then have, let's face it, on paper, the easier fixtures. But listen, I completely echo everything you say, Ryan. I think even under Gerrard, when we won the title, there was that kind of build for the first 2 years. Honestly, it frustrates the life out of me, the way that we build up. It's not Real Madrid, right? But the way you think it was, right? The way we build up some of these fixtures, going to Rugby Park, going up to Pataudry, we talk about it for a fortnight as if we're going to Bernabeu to play Real Madrid, right? And we need to get rid of that. And you're right, mate, there is maybe an element of, because we've had that same core of players, that's what they're used to, right? They're used to that mentality of there are 4 or 5 really difficult grounds that we will need to go to 2 or 3 times every single season, and hopefully bringing in fresh blood, they just wipe that slate clean, right? In my mind, the one that you should look at is Celtic Park and go, it's going to be really tough. Every other one, right? We've got the resources and the players to blow every single team in this country out the water, with the exception of Celtic, obviously. We should be going there with the view that we take maximum points in all these fixtures. So, no, I completely agree, mate. Moving on from fixtures, so yesterday or today, the new home kit was officially unveiled. I think it was unveiled on Twitter several weeks ago. I think just about everybody knew what the home kit was going to look like. But obviously, it became available to buy today. Obviously, the away top came out more recently. For what it's worth, I think a store's nailed the away top. By the way, I think the away top's one of the nicest tops we've had in a while. I love the kind of old traditional badge. It's very original. The home top doesn't grab me, right? I did see there's a wee Walter quote. There are people for whom Rangers Football Club is their entire way of life, printed somewhere in the top. I'd imagine somewhere inside. I thought that was quite a nice touch. But Ryan, I'll stick with you, mate. Are you rushing out the door to buy the new home top? And I don't know how much you'll buy into conspiracy theories, mate, but what's your thoughts on James Tavernier and Todd Cantwell modelling the top, mate?
Oh, I was delighted to see that picture. Absolutely delighted to see it. In terms of me rushing out to buy it, I won't be, and that's nothing to do with the design of it. I feel I'm at an age where wearing a football top's probably past me unless I'm playing 5-a-sides, be honest with you. I'm more a kind of a retro football top kind of guy, to be honest with you. I like the retro tops, Nicky. The Rangers dad me just looks at it and says, that's the same as last year. There's a couple of changes. Meh. If the boys come to me and they say, oh, Dad, I really like the new home top, then yeah, I'm rushing up there and I'm getting it. The same way as my mum and dad did with me and let me buy the tops. So, yeah, it's a blue top. If Rangers play well in it, I'll absolutely love it, Nicky. You know, that's all about it. If they play well in it, I'll be fond of the top. I'll look back in the top and think that's the top we won the league in. If not, then I'm not going to be a fan of it. If the boys want to get it, then I'll certainly get it. But the picture, I was disappointed to see who was in the picture for the launch of it. But then I think it was Heart and Hand had tweeted and said, "Oh, this was all shot in March," which gave me a wee bit of hope, because we obviously know what I wished for when I blew out my birthday candles. So I'm still hoping that launch picture will be historic come the start of the season. Read into that what you wish.
No, I agree, mate. I hadn't heard that the shoot was potentially done 3 or 4 months ago, mate. So that is somewhat positive. However, on the flip side, I do always find it strange that you would potentially have pictures of players in a brand new top that are potentially not even there that season. I'm sure it's happened in the past, mate, but likewise, it sent me into a wee bit of anxiety overdrive when I seen the picture of James Tavernier front and centre with the new top. Ali, the new top, initial thoughts, you getting it? Are you going to get a dog version? What's the script for this year, mate?
Of course, I'll be getting a dog version. I don't know. I always get the home top every year. I know, I get what Ryan's saying. You get to a certain age, and you probably think you shouldn't be buying football tops anymore, but always buy the home top. The home top is what it is. It's a blue top. There's not much they can really do with it, to be honest. I'd like to see it in person. I think it looks all right, to be honest. I will buy it. I think it's 75 quid. So I will buy the home top. And yeah, Craig Weir there as well. Thanks very much for the kind donation. He's obviously, I know Ryan's going about Tav was modelling it. About Tav, Butland should be captain. Well, if Tavernier leaves, he's probably the front runner for it. I think Rangers kind of poo-pooed that story in terms of Tav's been stripped of the captaincy. It hasn't. He will be captain if he's at Rangers, but I expect he will leave, Craig. That's my view on that. But yes, I will be buying the home top, Nicky. I don't know when I'll be buying it, but I will be buying it soon.
Very good, mate. Much the same as Ryan, mate. I think I normally end up 100 or 200 quid doing kitting the boys out in Rangers tops, mate. So I do tend to avoid it. But it is funny that Rangers do come out with, I mean, they've come out with some absolute belters over the years, right? But whether Celtic have won the league or we've made an arse of whatever it is, you have good and bad memories of individual tops, don't you? So initial thoughts for me on the top, I'm not that keen on it. Like Ryan says, it's not changed much, but it's hard to get a Rangers top wrong, and yet somehow we sometimes manage to do it. I don't know how we manage it, but we still manage to make a bit of an arse of it. But let's hope this season comes with some success, and we can obviously have fond memories of the top as we move on. I want to move on to. Sorry, mate.
No, sorry, can I ask something? When did we stop doing the? Remember, this is another Rangers Day thing, so strap yourselves in. When we used to get to the Scottish Cup final, we used to play the Scottish Cup final with a new top, and I used to love that. Like, it used to be so exciting to see it. And then every day you would have the top for the Scottish Cup final. When did we stop doing that? Is it when we stopped getting to Scottish Cup finals?
I think it was before that, mate. I'll allow Ali to jump in. His history's maybe better than mine. I remember Rangers done it with Laudrup and Gascoigne, etc. I want to say they maybe done it with. Remember with the NTL tops, it was kind of Advocat era merging into the cliche. I've got a funny feeling we might, because we kind of transitioned from an all blue NTL to the blue with the red NTL. Remember when McLeish came in? I think we might have done it round about the end, but I can't remember us doing it since. But Ali will maybe have a better recollection than I do.
Oh, it's going way back to when I was a boy. Same as Ryan, to be honest, but. I don't know if are they allowed to do that anymore in terms of wearing a new kit in the same season. I don't know. I know Rangers launched before we went to Seville. Remember, they launched the orange top before the season, but they didn't wear it. But they launched it, and you could buy it, obviously. So, I don't know, but I do remember that back in the day. What Ryan's talking about, which was quite good because it gave you a kind of teaser of what it would look like.
They even used to do. I think they used to do it down south. I remember Chelsea doing it probably about 10 years ago. Chelsea done it when Didier Drogba and that were playing, so they were still doing it as well. But it's maybe one they've just killed out. They've got that many bloody strips, right? I mean, Rangers are releasing 3 and 4 taps every bloody year, aren't they? And much the other same with other clubs. So, okay, I want to move on. Just slightly more exciting. Just talk about some transfers, players in, players out. Obviously, the first one I want to chat about is. Kelly. Obviously Kelly becomes Rangers' 6th confirmed signing, I believe, alongside Diomande. Obviously he came in last year, but officially Diomande is signed. Cortez, Yefte, Inciala, and obviously Connor Barron, who signed last week as well. So he becomes the 6th signing. Obviously, Kelly has spent a period of his life at Rangers, obviously going through the ranks as a young boy. I think I read that he spent about 14 years at Ibrox before leaving. Obviously, he's been plying his trade at Motherwell, end of contract. It's a free. Ali, that strikes me as quite a sensible move. I think if I look at Robbie McCrory, he has obviously, I think, been the number 2. I think John McLaughlin has obviously been downgraded. John McLaughlin has since left the club at the end of his contract. There is a lot of noise about Robbie McCrory leaving Rangers this summer for wanting first-team football. I had a wee look at the stats. Robbie McCrory played 1 game last year, 1 game. That's pretty damning, right? For Rangers, I think we played 59 or 60 games, something like that. I think Jack Butland did about 58 appearances, there or thereabouts. I think it's pretty damning of your number two to have only played one. When you think about Rangers, 4 competitions, the amount of games we play, to only have one start during an entire season is quite damning. So I expect Robbie McCrory will move out. Ali, what's your views on bringing in, obviously, Kelly as a goalkeeper, and what's your kind of expectations for Kelly in terms of how he'll integrate into this team? Do you expect him to have more than one start as a la Robbie McCrory, or do you think it will still be very much a Jack Butland starts 99% of games and he's only there to pick up when Jack Butland's injured?
He's a tick box. Liam Kelly, homegrown, trained at Rangers as well as a youth, so he ticks 2 boxes for us straight away. Obviously, John McLaughlin's gone. Robbie McCrory, as you say, played 1 game last season. He wants to go and play first team football. Can't begrudge the guy for wanting to do that. He's at an age where he needs to go and play first team football, so he will leave in the summer. Obviously, I think Aberdeen are looking at him. So Liam Kelly will come in. 28, I think he is, Liam Kelly. So he's a decent age. I think he's a good goalkeeper, Liam Kelly. He was a Motherwell captain last year. He will be number 2 for Rangers. In terms of game time, I'll be honest, I don't like when we chop and change goalkeepers, even in League Cup games and stuff, because, to be honest, if you're a goalkeeper at Rangers, you're not doing very much, especially at Ibrox, and especially in the lower rounds of the League Cup. So I wouldn't really be changing it. He might play the odd game in maybe the first round of the League Cup potentially, but I don't expect him to get much games, to be honest. He's there as a backup if something happens to Jack Butland, and I hope to God not. But if he did have to come in, I'd be happy enough as him coming in as a number 2, because I think he'd be a steady pair of hands there. But yeah, it'll be Jack Butland will be playing, as you said, probably 99% of the games next season, hopefully.
Yeah, likewise, mate. I think, as I say, I thought it was a sensible move. You're almost doing a like for like on the assumption that Robbie McCrory goes out the door. Robbie McCrory, we would like to think, will bring in a bit of cash as well. He's under contract, so if he is moving down south or to any other team in Scotland, you'd like to think we'll bring in a wee bit of cash. So it makes sense for me. But Ryan, views on Liam Kelly coming in, mate, and much the same. What kind of impact do you expect him to have? Do you expect him to push Butland, or do you think it will very much be a warming the bench for the season unless Butland's injured?
The term that Ali used there, box ticker, really that's what I think of when I think the Liam Kelly side, and obviously homegrown, so that's the big box it ticks. To give him a bit of credit though, I think having a goalkeeper who has been a number 1 in his previous role as your backup goalkeeper isn't a bad thing. Liam Kelly is a decent goalkeeper. I've seen him at Ibrox in away games. He's a decent goalkeeper. Obviously, he's been here before, so he knows what the club's about. Understand he was a popular figure when he left Rangers, a popular figure in the dressing room, so he's obviously a likeable lad. It'll be interesting to see. I'm still that way where Butland's the one player that I am not 100% convinced that he's going to be here next season. I know that sends shivers down every day. If a bid comes in when this market starts, and it will start, if a bid comes in, I just fear that we've got Liam Kelly, sitting there as a contingency plan in case Butland leaves. I really hope I'm wrong, because I love Jack Butland and I want him to be here for the next few seasons, but that's the reality, boys. If somebody fancies a goalkeeper, then why would you not come in with a £10 million bid for Jack Butland, because he's a fantastic goalkeeper. So I'll be glad when the window shuts and Butland is in goals and Liam Kelly's sitting on the bench, because we won't get a better goalkeeper than Jack Butland. And Liam Kelly, like I say, he's a number 1 goalkeeper for another team before he signed with us. Isn't a bad signing, and he's a Scottish player. So yeah, it makes sense that we've done it, but I'm just, that normal Ryan procedure is, I'm a bit sceptical that the window's not shut and Butland is he's not 100% staying. That's all I'm thinking. So I'm not going to get as cocky as everybody else and think Liam Kelly's a bench warmer yet.
It's interesting, Ryan. I agree, mate. I think the term box ticker will resonate with clubs down south. Jack Butland is also a box ticker for teams like Palace and West Ham and on all these kind of mid-table clubs, and I completely agree, mate. I think there will be teams down there that are paying 30 and 40 million quid for these foreign European goalkeepers who are hopeless, right? You look at the boy Anana, right? I know his distribution is good, right? Would Man United pay for him 60 or 70 million, something like that? In terms of short stopping, he's not as good as Jack Butland, right? I think maybe his all-round game, there's obviously other aspects to it that he's very good at, but in terms of stopping a ball getting in the net, from what I've seen, he's not as good as Jack Butland. So I do think there will be, you're right, mate, there will be suitors down there that will be interested in him. Ryan and Ali, I'll maybe come to these individuals just because, Ryan, you've raised Jack Butland. What do you have a figure in mind, mate? What's the figure that Rangers can't walk away from if a West Ham or a Palace or somebody like that wants Jack Butland? Do you think there's a figure there that Rangers simply couldn't turn down and we'd need to just shake his hand and say thanks for a terrific 12 months, but for the benefit of us and the player trading, we kind of need to move you on? Have you got a figure in mind? I'll come to you first, Ryan.
It would be double figures for me. I think he could be so important for us, Nicky, next season if we're in European football, if we are seriously going to do this league this season, if we're going to, not this challenge nonsense, if we're going to go and win this league, because that's what it needs to be, the mentality. If we are going to go and win this league, we need to have Jack Butland. We need to have a goalkeeper of that stature. And it would take double figures, in my opinion, so 10 million and above to move that goalkeeper. And if it's an English team, absolutely, I would be looking for 10 million because they've got it. So yeah, it would take that for me to allow him to go, I think.
Ali?
Similar. I think Rangers would deal between 12 to 15. That's what I had in my head, 12 to 15 million. If it's English clubs looking, I agree with Ryan, if it's English clubs looking, they need to pay top dollar for him. And I know a lot of folk in the comments might go, 12 to 15 million isn't top dollar for these clubs down there, but they do kind of turn their nose up at us up in Scotland. Jack Butland's a fantastic goalkeeper. I think he would do a job for anyone down in England, but yeah, I think Rangers would deal round about that level that I talked about there. But I hope they don't, and I hope he's Rangers number one next season because he is critical, as Ryan was saying there, for us wanting to do anything in the league next season and in Europe. I just think him in goals, it's reassurance. It breathes it through the team for me when he's there. So I hope he's there at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think 12, 15 million is probably the figure I had in my mind, mate. I think Butland's a really difficult one because, Ryan, you look at what we need to do, mate, right? If we want to win this title, you look at the amount of bodies and the amount of quality we need to bring in. 12 or 15 million pound would give you a fairly decent start at a war chest to be able to do that. So it is a really difficult one. I get the argument that Butland's been fantastic for us for 12 months. There's a lot of talk just now about if Tav leaves, he becomes captain, because that's the kind of stature he has in the dressing room and on the park. But on the flip side, we're not awash with cash, right? We don't have a lot of sellable assets through our team at the minute. He is the one that if there is interest from England, maybe we do need to try and exploit it. We need to try and exploit the deep pockets that the English Premier League clubs have to allow us to do exactly what we want to do in terms of bringing in a replacement goalkeeper of similar quality that you can get cheaper, but also to replace probably the spine of the team as well as the surrounding area as well. Right, it is time to hear from our sponsors. So, thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code CLUB at 22. Summertime and the trimming is easy. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Inside this package, you'll find the star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. It features dual LED spotlights to provide contrast on multiple skin tones, 3 length-setting combs, and it's waterproof. Now you can have the perfect haircut. Use Manscaped's liquid formulations to keep that freshness, the crop soother, aftershave lotion, and crop preserver, anti-chafe ball deodorant. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their performance package, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Also, Manscaped's new Buff Bundle is all you need to keep the summer heat a breeze. The bundle includes their signature silicone scrubber and body wash. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBIT22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with CLUBIT22 at manscaped.com. It's smooth sack summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Well done, Nicky.
Done.
Very well done.
Smashed it.
It takes a bit of practice. I feel a wee bit out of touch, having not been on the pod for 3 or 4 weeks.
It's a lot of tongue ties in there. Usually,
Manscaped products again. I know the Manscaped products, as I say, I can't advocate enough how good some of their stuff are. So, like I say, there's a brilliant offer there to get 20% off. You'll be supporting the pod, you'll be supporting Manscaped. So, if you are in the market for that sort of stuff, then please do check out their stuff, because it's the best of gear. Okay, I want to move on quickly. Just a few rumours of an outgoing have circulated this week. Obviously, we are in the midst of birthday bonanza. Scott's birthday, Scott's wee boy's birthday, Jamie's birthday. So a happy birthday to all the lads. But I mean, there's rumours going about, there's strong rumours going about that the reason Jamie is not on the pod tonight is that he's been in his bedroom for 3 days straight now, hugging his D9 poster since the rumours came out that D9 may be on the move. So I think during the week there, a few different sources actually ran a story that Dessers was in advanced talks with Paok. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me. I'm sure there's a more European way of saying that. But Paok, obviously Greek team, I believe they have just won the title in the Greek top division. So obviously a decent side. Rumours going around that Cyril Dessers is in advanced talks with them. Obviously Cyril Dessers, 3.5 million, 4 million quid, somewhere there or thereabouts. I believe we paid for Cyril Dessers. It's a strange one. I think since Morelos went off the boil 3 or 4 years ago, we've kind of been crying out for a striker to come in and score 20 goals. Dessers done that, 22 goals he scored last year, but he's probably not ticked the box for a lot of fans. He's 29, going on 30, I believe, this year. I think one of the things I've said on this pod before is I feel if you're playing with one striker up top, you probably need 3 strong options, right? Last season we had Roof, we had Danilo, obviously at the start of the season we had Dessers as well. Whether or not they are strong options is an argument for another day. But obviously Roof's went out the door, end of contract. Danilo, we don't know what version of Danilo we are going to get. Dessers has obviously been here 12 months. He's not everybody's cup of tea. He's done well at points. He's done not so well at other points. Ali, I'll come to you first, mate. Where are you at with this? Dessers, strong links with Greek, 29 going on 30. Would you like to see Dessers, now that he's had 12 months to settle in Scotland, have another year here? Do you think he could kick on? Do you think he could become better? I think you could point to the fact the second half of the season was far stronger than the first half. Or are we high on a motor and driving him to Greece, mate, to get him off the wage bill and get somebody else in? Where are you at with Dessers, mate, and what should we be doing looking forward into next season?
Ryan's private jet is currently getting fueled at the moment, so he'll be going in Ryan's private jet as soon as possible. If we can get our money back, or close enough to our money back in Cyril Dessers, yes, he scored 22 goals last season. On paper, sounds good. He's got to go. I said at the beginning of the season, you look at it, Kamara Roof's gone. We want to bring 2 strikers in minimum this season, and one of them has to be a starter. Danilo, £6 million reportedly we spent on him last season. You're not going to get rid of Danilo this season because clubs aren't going to come in for him. He's been out for so long, so Danilo will be there. So Dessers is the obvious one that has to go, regardless if he scored 20 goals last season. His hold-up play for me is not good enough, Nicky. He's not mobile enough. He does miss a lot of chances. I know folk will say, "Hi, but he scored 22 goals." I just don't think he's good enough. And for the way we want to play, he's got to go. And I think we could recoup most of our money of what we spent on him. So yes, if any teams are interested in Cyril Dessers, I would sell him in a minute. And I hope he does well at these teams where he goes to, Nicky, because I think he's a decent guy. I think he speaks well. I think he does give 100% for the team, but I just don't think he's good enough for where we want to go next season. So yes, I'll be selling Cyril Dessers this season.
No, I agree, mate. He is a very likeable guy. I think the one plaudit I would give Cyril Dessers is he's got a strong mentality, right? I think a lot of players would have folded under the criticism that he got. Certainly the start of his career at Ibrox, it didn't go off to the best start under Michael Beale. There was a lot of noise about Dessers. There was a lot of pointing the blame predominantly at him. I think there's a good chance that a lot of players would have just folded and crumbled at that point. So if there is one plaudit, I think his mentality to come on and have a strong second half to the season. Yeah, 22 goals. He could have scored 62, right? You look at the chances he had. He gets into good positions, but he's probably not good enough. Ryan, I come on to you, mate. What's your thoughts in terms of Cyril Dessers? I think I agree with Ali. Danilo, you're not going to get any movement on. You're not going to get money back on Danilo. Is Dessers the sensible choice to get out the door, get some funding in and try and get somebody better, or are you hanging on to him, mate?
It would go for me. I've no time for like sentimentality or he's a nice guy. I'm sure he is. But I've no time for that. I look at it this way. Yeah, he scored goals last season, but does Cyril Dessers strike fear into our enemy, into Celtic? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. They don't fear him. They never will fear him either. That's a fact. And that's where we've got to move on from having players who are decent to players who are genuinely going to bring trophies home for us, and he won't, in my opinion. And I get other people do like him, will understand that because he did score quite a few goals last season. But there's also a bigger reason why we didn't kick on. He should have scored a lot more goals and a lot more important goals as well. He's just not the level of player that we need, in my opinion. But it's a good thing that he scored goals last season because we can recoup our money. And if there's somebody at the table for him, let's get him moved on. Let's shake his hand. Wish him all the best, as Ali said. And let's bring somebody else in who can do the job that we need. And it goes same with Sam Lammers and whoever else. If we can get our money back, because 6 months ago, I genuinely thought we'd probably pissed £7 million down the drain on those two. And it looks as if we're going to recoup the money, which is phenomenal. And I think it was Blue Nose John that said about selling them at the right time or whatever. That's another one, but it's a great point. We need to learn from this. But so many players have left Ibrox on freeze or their values dropped and we've just not got any money for them. Cyril Dessers is just top goal scorer for us, right? Or 20 odd goals, whatever it was he scored. This is the time to sell him now. So learn from our mistakes. We haven't signed brilliantly, but he's had a decent season. So now is the time to sell him because I don't see us selling Cyril Dessers for this money or more in a year's time. So for me, this is the right time to sell him. So for somebody at the table, yeah, I'm moving him on, Nicky, and I'm bringing fresh legs in and somebody of a higher quality. Yeah, it's a good point, mate. I think it probably goes back to what we were chatting about with Butland as well, right? But Butland might not have a good season next year, and then that 12 or 15 million you could have got for Palace suddenly becomes a 6 or 7, right? He's a year further down his contract. So, which is why I think Butland's a hard one. I think if there is suitors this year, maybe we do need to just, do you know what I mean? Just take the money. Although it's difficult to
wave goodbye to him, because he's been very, very good over the last 12 months. His stock's high, we need to sell. Much the same as Cyril Dessers. There was obviously a point, I think, in the comments as well about when was the last time a striker scored 22 goals in their first season. Cyril Dessers has been very, very lucky, in my opinion, right? Yeah. Roof can't stay fit. Danilo was very unfortunate because of his injury. Would Cyril Dessers have played 40 or 50 games and scored 22 goals had Roof been fit all season and Danilo been fit all season? Probably not, because Dessers would have probably been second or third choice, in all honesty, as a striker. So I think he has been quite lucky. I always go, if you're a striker and you're playing 90, I mean, I would score goals for Rangers, right? If I played up front and Rangers created the amount of chances and I played every single week, I would score goals for Rangers. So I do think there is a bit of context behind these goals, but I'm the same as you boys. I think if there is serious interest in Cyril Dessers, he's not going to have a resale value. What did they sign, a 3 or 4 year contract? He's going on 30, he'd be 32 by the end of it. You're not going to get much resale value. So likewise, I think if we can get our money back and invest it in another number 9, a main number 9, then that's what I'd be looking to do. Moving on, there's obviously a few more names kicking about. Last Friday night, you boys spoke a bit about Igamani, I think is the young Moroccan boy, and Kabadayi, I think is how you pronounce it. Obviously the young boy as well from Bayern Munich, I think spent last year on loan at Schalke. It sounded as though both of these were pretty imminent. None have happened yet. I know the Euros is going on and things have kind of slowed down a wee bit, but obviously I'd like to think that both of them will come in over the next couple of days. But one name that has been doing the rounds is Kenny McLean. And obviously Kenny McLean has been at the Euros with Scotland. There's a lot of noise that in fact there's been a lot of noise every summer for a few years now that Rangers are interested in Kenny McLean, but it seems to be a bit louder this year that Rangers are interested in him. I think, Ali, I'll use your term, box ticker. He's 32, he's Scottish. He ticks that kind of homegrown rule, I believe, if we were to bring him back in. I think for me, given his age, 2 years left on his contract, I believe he was player of the year at Norwich this year. I don't watch a lot of Championship football, but from what I hear, he had a pretty good season. Ryan, I'll be honest, I seen Kenny McLean, I seen he plays in the Championship, and I immediately switched off, mate. I am sick and tired of us shopping for individuals in the Championship. What's your view, mate? I know there's a lot about he's Scottish, he's a Rangers fan, he'd bring experience. Not for me, mate. Do you have a differing opinion, mate? What's your view on Kenny McLean? Because we'd need to stick our hand in our pocket, right? He's got 2 years left on his contract to bring him in.
You know, when you say box ticker, it feels like that. It does feel like that because he's Scottish and a Rangers fan. I said last week or the week before, I'm same as you, fed up at us shopping in that Championship. We get little reward for it. I think we need to strap ourselves in, boys. I think it's done. By what I'm hearing this morning, that he's along with the Bayern Munich boy and the Moroccan, that it's done. So I think he's on his way. What you'll get from McLean is you'll get 100%. So let's look at it that way. He's one of us. He's not going to want to be thought of as the same kind of bracket as maybe Graham Dorrans or players who have come up here and washed up. McLean was player of the year for Norwich last year. He did play the majority of the games, so he doesn't appear to be injury prone. I am looking for wood to touch. We'll go for that bit. So he doesn't appear to be injury prone. So let's look at the positives here. And he knows the Scottish League as well, so there'll be no settling in period. So I am trying to look at the positives of this one. I just hope we've not spent like 2 or 3 million, £4 million on this guy. He's 32. He's coming to end his career. We just can't have spent money on this guy. I know he's got like a 2-year contract left or something like that. So again, Blue Nose John hits a nail on the head. If the price is right, getting a player who knows what it's all about, maybe it isn't the worst deal. I'm trying to be optimistic about it, boys. You know what I'm like with optimism. It might not be the worst deal. So I think he's here. I think it's a matter of time before you see the picture with the scarf. So I think we just need to embrace it and see what Ken McLean can bring to the table. But is he going to be that kind of Scott Arfield replacement where he's got the mentality, he's a bit in the dressing room as well, he can tell players what Rangers are all about, he's reliable, he's a squad player. Maybe he's going to fill that position, because I think we missed that last year. I think there was games unbelievably where I thought, we could do with Scott Arfield here, somebody who's going to break the line, somebody who's going to put it about and at least be a bit aggressive, and he will be aggressive. So if we've done it for the right price, Nicky, then I will say it's a good deal for Rangers, but he does have it all to prove.
Ali, Kenny McLean, I think there is an argument that maybe he does. Ryan makes a good point, that kind of Arfield. I think he probably plays slightly deeper from Arfield, but again, I don't watch a lot of Championship football. From what I have read, Kenny McLean does break lines. He does make a lot of runs into the box. He's quite aggressive at getting forward when the ball comes forward. For me, Ali, one of the things you go on about a lot is we've failed to match Celtic physically in the middle of the park for a number of years now. One of the things that is very refreshing and very appealing to me is Rangers and the links to South America, North Africa market. Strong, physical, aggressive young boys who I think can potentially match. You don't necessarily need to be 6'5" and 14 stone, to be physical, right? You can be aggressive in other ways, and that's why I think some of the links that we've had with the South American and North African boys is really appealing to me, because I think we have not managed to match Celtic, that physical aspect. Kenny McLean, what's your thoughts, mate? Is he another one that would maybe go kind of missing in these big games like a Lawrence or a Todd Cantwell? Or what's your view, mate? Is it a sensible deal at the right price?
It's not very inspiring, because, as we say, we've shopped in this market before. A 32-year-old Kenny McLean playing for Norwich. I know he played very well down at Norwich last season for them. But you look at the players we are bringing in, 21 years of age, boys that have came from boys that we've never heard of, to be honest. So Clermont probably needs a core group of players in that dressing room, experienced, if you want to say, that can say to these boys what it's about. Kenny McLean, as you say, he's a Rangers fan. Doesn't make him a good player because he's a Rangers fan, but he knows what it's about. He's played in this league. I think he's a decent player, Kenny McLean. He can break the lines. He's left-sided. He's a good passer of the ball as well. He can shoot. So, yeah, it doesn't mean he's coming here as a first pick for Rangers, Kenny McLean. As I said last week on the podcast, we're going to be shifting a lot of players come Monday, as soon as this window opens. So, for me, he'll come in as a squad player, but a decent squad player, a Scott Arfield type where you can bring in for certain games potentially. So, as long as we are, as I agree with Ryan there, spending stupid money on him, and I don't think we will, I'd be thinking something along the lines of £1 million for Kenny McLean at his age. If it's that kind of money, yeah, I think it's a sensible bit of business for Rangers, because he ticks the boxes as well. So, we'll see what happens, but there'll be bigger deals than that as the transfer window opens with Rangers. But Kenny McLean for potentially £1 million, yeah, I'm happy enough for that.
We will see. I know there's a lot of comments the now about it's a done deal that probably goes along with what you've heard, Ryan. So we will see how that develops over the next couple of days. And likewise, the young Moroccan boy and the boy from Bayern Munich, it'll be good to see them come in. What I do want to obviously chat about is, just before we finish up tonight, is will we see bigger names or bigger profiles? So obviously we've seen 6 signings come in so far. In my opinion, there's probably one of them, maybe 2 that you would think are maybe starters for Rangers going into next season. I know that's maybe been a wee bit harsh, right? We've not seen a lot of these boys, and the proof will be in the pudding when they come in and actually play it at Ibrox. But I would expect, I think I said this a few weeks ago, I almost expect this transfer window to be split into 2. I think we're almost doing a bit of the kind of squad filling at the minute. I think we're in that kind of lull or that period of quiet with the Euros and kind of everything else going on. And then I suspect it will pick back up again. We'll see a bit of pace as we move towards the kind of end of the window. Obviously, at the minute, I correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've spent £1 million on Yefty, there or thereabouts. I think it's about 800 grand. We'll pay a development fee for Connor Barron. Diomande, yeah, there's £4.5 million set aside there, but I'm kind of including that from January, given he's been in the door kind of 6 months or so now. On the assumption that we bring in Igomani, Kabadaye, potentially Kenny McLean for the £1 million figure, you're probably looking at somewhere up to kind of £5 or £6 million we've spent. I think if you look at Michael Beale, I think he was backed with somewhere in the region of about 15 or 16 million quid last year, albeit he was able to bring in, I think, about 10 or 11 quid with Kolach going out the door, with Glenn Kamara going out the door, and Fashion Sakala going out the door to Saudi as well. So I expect us to kind of dip our hand in our pocket as we get through the rest of this window. Looking at our squad, we still have a massive number of players that I would be looking to move on or would have in the shop window. I think I tried to list out some of them. You've got, and listen, this is my opinion. These are players that I would have at the door if we can get reasonable money for. Matondo, Dill, Lawrence, Cantwell, Ben Davies, Hadji, Cifuentes, Lammers, Dessers, and that's not even touching Taver Goldson. Ryan is nodding his head, mate. I assume you're in agreement with all of them. So I think, not blue tinted specs, I think there's the best part, or 10 or 15 million quid you could probably bring in for all of them combined, right? You're talking 10 or 11 players there. 10 or 15 million quid you can bring in. So I would expect us to be able to use some of that funding to bring in, let's say, bigger profiles. But Ali, I'll maybe come to you first, mate. Obviously, as we approach the end of the window, on the assumption that a proportion of those players leave, what's the 2 or 3 big positions for you, mate, that we need to put our hand in our pocket, mate? We need to invest in quality that it's a guaranteed starter, right? There is no debate about whether they're coming in to fill the bench or fill the squad. Where do we need to be spending money, mate, for guaranteed starters and guaranteed quality that's going to bring us up a notch as we move into the next season, mate?
Spine of the team. 2 centre-halves for me is a must. Will we get 2 as a starter? I don't know. At least 1 that is a starter, but 2 centre-halves. A guy in the middle of the park that's going to dictate a game for me. Give me the ball and let me dictate. I think we're powder puff in the middle of the park. I think we've been powder puff for years in the middle of the park. You see it with Celtics 3 that we talk about, Hattati or Eiley and McGregor. They kind of run over the top of us. I know we did a bit better in the cup final, but somebody in the middle of the park that's going to, a bit of physicality about them and give me the ball and let me dictate. And a striker, Nicky. A guy who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. I know a lot of folk are saying Dessers scored 22 goals. 22 goals should be a minimum for a Rangers striker. If you're playing for Rangers up front, you should be scoring 25 plus every season. So the spine of the team for me, and if I'm being even more greedy, Nicky, a guy on the right side, because we've been crying out for somebody on the right-hand side for years. But that's the main positions for me. But 2 centre-halves, because you've got Jack Butland in goal for us that hopefully starts next season. But 2 centre-halves, dominant centre-halves for me. Guys that are quick, guys that are physical. Because that's what I think we need to build from the back. But the spine of the team's key for me. So that's the positions for me. Being a bit greedy with the right-sided as well, but
I think we're banned for signing right wingers. Did that ban not come in when Daniel Candeias left? We get banned for signing right wingers. We're going to sign left wingers and kind of ship them over to the right hand side. Ryan, any differing views to Ali, mate? If you've got 10 or 15 million quid that we can spend on a handful of players, what's the key position?
Definitely. Well, we need firepower, boys. If we look at what happened last season, why did we not win the league? Because of chance conversion or our goals scored. We need goal scorers, boys. There is no doubt about it. We are very like the goals weren't spread amongst the team at all. So we need goal scorers from midfield, the wings, up front. So I think there first and foremost is where I know you always say a good team is built from the back, but I want a couple of strikers. I want a right winger. I want a goal scoring midfielder. And then if I've got any money left, I want 2 centre halves as well. Rangers are crying out for goal scorers. I just never felt as if when we were playing them, it was a similar feeling to the kind of the real banter years where we didn't lay a glove in them. You never felt as if we were going to score. It felt like that last season. It felt as if we were going to score, it was going to be like a deflected, scraped goal against them. It just never felt like that. It never felt as if we had a player who they feared. And that's what we need to have. We need to have aggressive players and players that they fear. And I don't think we have that up front at all just now. I can't think of any player that they probably fear at all just now. So that's what we need. I want firepower, Nicky. But I think business has been done. I agree with you in terms of the window will be split into two. But if I always said that there'll be a Scottish backbone to any successful Rangers team, and that backbone is kind of being built just now. Kelly aside, okay, he's not the first choice goalkeeper as it stands just now. You've got Suter, you've got Connor Barron in there. There is a Scottish backbone being built slowly. If you get a striker I would like in the Hearts number 9, then that gives you the backbone right through the team. But that's what it's got to be. It's got to be firepower for me, Nicky. That's where I would try and spend my money most, first and foremost. I know we concede so many stupid goals defensively, but if you score 2 or 3 goals, you're going to win the majority of the games in Scotland. And that's why I would like to see our money spent on goal-scoring midfielders or strikers.
I agree, mate. And I know, listen, there was a couple of comments about I maybe undervalue players. Listen, it's all about opinions, right? I'm just being realistic. I don't think there is a big market for people like Dill, for people like Lawrence, for people like Cifuentes. I think honestly we are going to have a bit of a task on our hand to get some of these boys off the books. We've made a bit of an arse of recruitment over the last couple of years. It is going to be increasingly difficult. Even boys like Matondo's got qualities, but I just don't think players like them are going to be in high demand. So Coppin and the recruitment team and agents have a very difficult task of getting a lot of these boys off the book. As I say, if we can get half of the 11 or 12 names that are rounded off the books, and you can bring in 10 or 15 million quid for them, then I think that's been a fairly successful summer in my opinion. And then you look to review the rest of them in January and the following summer. I think realistically, where we are, it's going to be a 2 or 3 window at least to get to where we want to be. We've seen it with Gerrard coming in, right? We're almost in a similar situation where we need a complete gut out, and you need to. We can't just bring. We don't have football manager money, right? Where we can just buy as many players we want whenever we want. There's almost going to be we need to pick up quality when we can and bring them in over the next kind of 2 or 3 windows. Cool. Listen, lads. We have reached pretty much the hour. We have made good time. I did say we'd open up for questions, but we have unfortunately run out of time. So obviously I want to thank you both for joining, and obviously your contributions this evening. Ali Pearson, thank you very much, mate.
No problem. Good conversation tonight. It's July as of Monday, which is closer to having Rangers back. I think Rangers kick off against, is Ajax on the 13th of July. And then obviously we've got a few games to go after that. So, the fixtures are out now. So it's starting to feel real. Obviously, Scotland are out the Euros, which I feel sorry for Scotia. The proper football is just round the corner. So looking forward to it.
Ryan, thank you very much, mate, for giving up your Friday night, mate.
Thank you, mate. No, not much to give up. When you're 40, you're not really that much to give up, to be honest with you. I'll be watching Glastonbury tonight. Idols are on, so I'll be one of my favourite bands, so I'll watch them. steak, glass of wine, and chill out in front of the telly. But I'm still enjoying my summer, boys. I'm not quite at the stage where I'm desperate for Rangers to be back. I will be in a few weeks, I'm sure, but I'm still enjoying my summer, still licking my wounds for last season. But I'm getting a wee bit excited. I won't lie, I'm getting a wee bit excited. But well done tonight, mate. I hope you both have a good weekend and everybody in the chat have a good weekend. Play nice, guys, in the chat. I've seen a couple of nasty comments in there. Play nice and be nice to each other, for God's sake.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks all for everybody who has contributed, for the comments, for the donations. As always, please like and subscribe. And I believe we will be back next Friday for the next iteration of Club Live. So hope everybody has a good weekend. Thanks all for joining. Cheers.